Hey, it's Kirsty from Kirsty Car Strategy. Welcome back to my channel, Strategy and Some. This is the place to be if you are a small business owner, specifically services and creative services, and you are corporate curious. I'm taking all of my knowledge from my 18 years as a corporate buyer of billions of pounds worth of professional services and creative services, and I am helping small businesses take their first steps and maybe even more detailed one-to-one coaching consulting to help them land themselves on the preferred supplier list of their dream clients. So this week, what are we talking about? We are talking about some hints and tips of getting yourself set up for corporate success. So I think in the past couple of videos, I've sort of set the scene in terms of why corporates want you and why corporates aren't as scary as sometimes we are led to believe. And this week, I want to touch slightly on sort of things that you can do to get yourself ready. So if you're ready to win with corporates, watch this video and get ready to take those first steps. So I think some of what I'm going to say today is pretty bloody obvious, but let's just recap it because it doesn't hurt to refresh our memories and go back to basics sometimes. So the first thing that we need to do is be really clear on what we're offering. And when I say be really clear on what we're offering, don't have multiple things and 57 products and this, that and the other. Have a really clear offer that you can describe in 60 seconds. Now, it's not an elevator pitch because we don't do that, but it's being able to succinctly explain what the offer is and what it does in 60 seconds. If you can't do that, then I would ask you to go back and simplify it. Make it quick, make it snappy, make it to the point. Just get really, really clear on what you're offering. You really need to start packaging and presenting yourself as a professional. Now, I can hear some of you going, but Kirsty, we're not corporate. You're absolutely not corporate. You're absolutely not corporate. And when I say packaging yourself as a professional, that isn't at the expense of your personality either. Like, your personality is what's going to shine through. And I've already said, don't be afraid to be standout and use your personality, be bold, be brave. But having a personality does not negate you from being professional in your business. Now, some people, you may well switch off at this point, and that's okay. But as somebody who's been on both sides of the fence, I have the biggest personality of a lot of people that I know. I am very Marmite. People either like me or loathe me. I have no problem giving my opinion, and I have no problem saying what I think. And some people are not okay with that because it's a reflection of things that they can't do for themselves. And there's no shade there whatsoever because we're all different individually. But what I'm saying to you is I can be a real badass when I want to be, but I'm also professional to the hilt. I know how to present myself professionally. I know how to act. I know how to show up. I know how to give the best of myself. It doesn't detract from my personality. Very yin and yang. Like, I have a very unprofessional, if you want to call it that, personality, because I'm non-conformist and I don't like rules and regulations too much. But then on the flip side, when it comes to work and when it comes to my business and when it comes to me providing and consulting and delivering into corporates, there's a level of work of which I pride myself on. There's a level of how I present myself that I pride myself on. There's a level of achievement that I pride myself on because I'm a consummate professional. So the two things don't have to, they're not... You're not being professional at the expense of a personality. It just doesn't work like that. But you are going to need to be polished and you're going to need to know your stuff. And simple things like, please use your spell check. Like, your decks need to be accessible to people. They need to be, in the colours that people can read. They need to be simple. They need to be to the point. When you're talking to somebody, you need to be able to have a conversation on an intellectual level so that you understand what they're trying to get from you and how you can help them. So I'm going to term that packaging yourself like a professional. Just take what you do and just elevate what you do, because it's very, as I said before, when we work one-to-one and we work with peers, sometimes it's very I would call conversational business. When you're working with a corporate or a brand, there's a level, we're going to have to up level a little bit because that's going to be the expectation. Again, they want you because you're different and agile and all of that, but they need to have comfort that they're investing their money in somebody who's going to deliver what they say they can deliver. And I think that's the key point for me about being professional. And if you do that, then you're going to make it really easy for a corporate to say yes. And the other thing that makes it really easy for a corporate to say yes is when your processes are slick and smooth and simple. You know, you don't have to spend loads of money investing in all the stuff that corporates have. But if you've got a smooth process where, you know, you send in your response to a request for quotation and it's a really easy deck, you answer everything in the way that it's been asked of you. You can show what the process is, you can give them an org chart, you can say who's involved in what, how long it takes you to get things signed off, etc., etc. If you can show that that's smooth and you're in control of that and you have a process, it's going to make it easy for them to say, okay, this person is not only, they've got a really clear offer, they're professional in the way that they present themselves and their business. They seem to have processes that work on the surface. We're not just scratching around with stuff on the back of a fag packet. You know, they've got a proper invoicing system. They've got a proper, you know, they've got everything it needs to have. They have got electronic signatures for contracts, all of that kind of stuff in place. They've got tracking or auditing or whatever it is that we need. They're going to have a level of comfort. So every time you do this, you're just increasing that confidence level and you being able to stack up with them and deliver that service that they expect. One thing I would say about processes and stuff, the aim for you as small businesses, obviously, is for you to have repeat business with clients, is for you to be able to take on more large clients, or to get yourself on a PSL so you are the preferred supplier of choice for that 12, 24, 36 month period. And you may well need to create systems that can handle more clients or that can handle bigger projects. So what I would think about at this point is have an eye to, we're going to go back to the four corners because you know I love it. So have an eye to the process part of your four corners. So if you are looking at going out and thinking I want to land 5 corporate clients this year, I'd ask you to go and have a look at your processes as they are at the moment and just give yourself that satisfaction that they'll be able to handle corporate clients. The way that you work with your peer-to-peer groups could operate in the same way. It could handle larger clients, larger projects, and multiple touch points of people, because as soon as you get into a larger brand, SME or corporate, you're going to have more than one person contacting you. So you need to make sure that you've got those things in place and that they run smoothly. And again, it's that comfort level. And lastly, for setting yourself up for success with a corporate, is practice makes perfect. Don't be afraid to prepare and practice your pitch 100 times. Rehearse your pitch until you can do it in your sleep. Think about all of the questions that you're likely to have. Think about the objection handling. What I've seen in my time is a lot of agencies, especially in the creative, because they work with their magic brain majoritarily because they're creative rather than the logic. That's generalism. I know there will be people that cross into both. But what I see is them really focusing on their creativity or their ingenuity or their solution, but they don't prepare for the potential objection handling. They don't prepare for the person like me in a procurement function, for example, who will start to ask slightly more difficult, sometimes uncomfortable questions, because we're trying to get a gauge for how easy it's going to be to work with you, how easy it's going to be for you to go through our supply relationship process, how easy it's going to be to onboard you, how easy it's going to be to communicate with you. Are we going to have any hiccups? Are there going to be some hidden things that we don't know about until we run some credit checks on you? So you are going to be asked things, should you get to that stage of having a meeting, that are not just about your services and are not just about the person that you've been engaged with and talking to. So I would say really prepare. Like, you could have, it's like having an FAQ. So you could have a frequently asked objection, frequent objections, or whatever. You're not showing it to anybody, but start to do some work on that document and start to think about the likely things that you're going to be asked, the likely things that people are going to object to, the likely things that somebody could just throw a spanner in the conversation and say, what about this? Try and cover those eventualities. And this is where, again, if you work your corners, you'll be able to spot the gaps or the things where they might come in and say, but have you got this? Have you got that? How do you do this? And practice your pitch. Please, please, please practice your pitch. And not in a not because it's an elevator pitch, because I've said we don't do that, but practice your pitch so that you are so comfortable. The message that comes across loud and clear in that setting is that you 100% stand behind your business and the solutions that you have got to offer. You are 100% able to take questions and directions from the floor and answer them without being flustered. You are 100% able to ask questions of those people, because that's another thing that suppliers forget. That initial conversation is two-way. It's like a job interview. It isn't just you being interviewed for a job. You're interviewing them to say, are we aligned? Actually, I've done some work on our aligned values, but now I'm in the room talking to these people. Do I still get a sense of that, or is there any red flags? So make sure it's those three things. You are able to stand there and communicate your offer. You're able to be, you're a professional. You make it easy for them to say yes. You are standing behind your solution with no ums and ahs and maybes and sways. You can objection handle, you can take questions from the floor, and also you can ask questions, and you can advocate for yourself in that meeting. So those things, to me, I always think when a supplier comes in who is not afraid to engage in a conversation, is not afraid to ask questions, is professional, very clear on what they can and can't do. As a buyer, I always found that quite refreshing, because I felt like that person had come in, they were at a level where we could have a very equal conversation and a very open conversation, and I could see myself working with them because they were structured, they did know what they were talking about, they had prepared. All of those things are big ticks, they're big green flags in a conversation. So those are a few of my kind of pointers for setting up for success with a corporate. So go away, have a think about that. If there's anything that you're not doing at the moment when you are approaching corporate, then you can rewatch this video and have a go with some of the things that I've said. Specifically, I would prep some objection handling and just do a bit of research about what objections you're likely to come up against, so that you just feel a little bit more prepared when you walk into that room. That's it for this week. If you like the video, then please hit the like and subscribe. I'll be back next week with some more hints and tips about working with corporates for all of you out there that are corporate curious in 2025. Bye for now.